lovely? Isn't she wonderful? Collective, you all are possibly going through situations. I'm not saying that you Michelle Obama, okay? I'm not saying, okay, whoever y'all are out there that we're nowhere near on her caliber there. It says Michelle Obama overcoming in uncertain times the light that we carry. I don't know if you guys can see it down here. People don't like that light, but they do like religion. They don't like that light. Becoming Michelle Obama. She's a Capricorn, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Not that that means anything. Anyway, I honor y'all for watching. If you're happening to step in, I don't know if you can hear because I do have people hacking into my devices, crooked people that pretend not to be crooked, hacking into my devices, doing things they have no business doing. But then I also technological shit, happens. But again, ooh, look at the sarcasm. There's some people who don't like the sarcasm, but they shouldn't be messing with folk. They should be minding their business and being integral and decent beings. Um, Now, I just want to say I honor y'all for watching, and I want to those of y'all who are legit. And for me, you don't have to be like me for me to look at you like legit. You can be different. I'm an adult. I'm a big girl. Okay, I don't fall apart because you don't see life as I see it, and I don't need to villainize you for it either. Okay. Um, so I just want to say I've discovered some very interesting information, and I want to share how you might find out similar things on this path as it continues to unfold about how many people are interlinked and involved in a lot of the schemes and scams on your life. Okay. It's fascinating. I said this some while ago. Sometimes the by chance shit is not by chance. I have a very good memory. I remember faces. I remember sounds. I may not remember the name. Names come to me later, but I do remember faces and sounds, like a voice. And here's what I want to say. Many of you are in the process of doing legal pursuits, and that's wisdom. That's wisdom because it's going to unfold. The more you see all these things that are interlinked and people that are actually interlinked with one another, that's connected to non related things, it makes you go, hmm. And then when you hear them talk about certain things such as like religion, okay, which I just need to say as a disclaimer, I'm not a hater. Okay. I need this to be heard and understood. And I don't know if this video is going to even be muted or not, but I am not a hater. Okay. I'm not a hater. I'm not somebody that goes around projecting my stuff and then turning into some kind of a hater for anybody who's opposed what I think and feel and believe. So I'm not here hating on people's chosen spirituality if they have any at all, because some don't have any, whether people choosing to be atheist, Christian, Buddha, Jehovah's Witness, all the various types of religions that we have on this planet. Okay. And things in between. I've had encounters with all kinds of folks. Okay. So I'm not a hater. I'm not an extremist. The extremists are the ones who are banding together against me. Okay. I just want to make that clear. They're the ones that are using their religion as well as their associations with others to come against me. You'll hear them talk about stuff like church functions and programs. You'll hear them mention names that's associated with which where you frequent, your children frequent, and then you'll draw the connection between stuff non-related. Let's say, for an example, you wanted a pet, your children wanted a pet, and you were shopping for a pet. And let's say in the process of that, there was someone that kind of played with your application And they went weird on you. They went back and forth. They asked questions that seemed weird, but you kind of already caught on to that, possibly. You know what I'm saying? That, okay, where's the relevance? But I'm going to roll with it. And they got weird and then decided not to approve an application out of nowhere. Okay. Claiming some bogus, you know, maybe it's not the right fit for a service animal, blase, blase, kind of misinterpreting and misunderstanding what that might mean. You kind of shake that off because you're doing life like everybody else here, right? Collective. You're just doing life, which means you're trying to take care of your kids. You're trying to take care of yourself. You're trying to, you know, make connections, do the things that you need to do. And you do chop a lot of stuff up to just life because some stuff is just life. But what if you find out later that there was a connection? What if you find out that somebody knew, let's say owner, manager, landlord of where you or your children reside or where you have to be? What are the chances of that? Now, let me say the chances of that, it depends. It's odd, slim to none. But when people are targeting you, it's really not that odd. If someone was already targeting you from the beginning, which means they were already having people do things that they had not no business doing. That's out of the scope of their position, their job, their title. They already have folks doing that. So then it makes it no longer that slim to none. Another factor to consider is if it is a small town. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because currently, where my son and I are, it's a small town where everybody knows your name and they all just glad they came, right? So everybody knows one another. Okay. Now, if you're the newbie, then you know no one and everybody else know one another. This is another thing that is exploited. It happens, right? And it does. We take on the attitude of such shit happens, life happens. And then there were none. Just so happened. This will eventually work for you if you're collecting data. If you are, taking the notes and collecting the data and drawing the connection. People hide their nefarious reasons for things that nobody is going to wear a name tag and badge. And sure, I'm prejudiced because I don't like this person's spirituality. Sure, I am. The fascinating thing is sometimes these are the same people, they're open about gay life. Now, just roll with me because I'm definitely open. Not your ex's hexes. Look at this. Good gravy, God. Good googly goo. Extra witchy. We spook people out, but look, not your ex's exes. Oh boy. Now, listen, as I just said, I'm not a hater, I'm not an extremist. It, actually, all of these people are those folks, and they are all folks that should have been put on a list. Every last one of them. Because they're violating civil and human law for their personal reasons. So, as I said, I'm not a hater. This needs to be said. So, all of this that they're doing is wrong. It's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. It's projection and it's wrong. I don't have a problem with sexuality. I don't have a problem with sexual identities. I don't have a problem with religious and spiritual beliefs and bents that are different than mine. I don't have a problem with people's political views and bents that are different than mine because it's not really my business or problem, is it? It shouldn't be, as long as it's not stepping over into violating my son and me or others. So these are people who are open for, like, let's say non-binary, gay, trans, and all those things. And I certainly am. I'm not anti anything except for anti toxic. You hear where I'm going with that? So whether somebody is of a non-binary, different sexuality, whatever their case belief systems, I really don't care. I'm anti-toxic and abuse. I'm anti-prejudice and discriminatory behavior and treatment being hidden under the guise of some hocus pocus bogus shit. That's who I am. So they'll appear, they'll appear to be okay with those things, but have a problem with a different spirituality or a different religion. And they'll hide that. And the reason why that's hidden is because it's not something, there's too many rules, there's too many laws, there's too many things. It's not PC and culture, so, depending on where they are, they can't disclose. They'll have to trump up another reason, another excuse. They'll be secretly watching you in your social media. Why am I talking about this kind of stuff? Because it's in plain sight. It's in plain sight. People using their connections to try to make something difficult for somebody. I just mentioned how I was trying to get an animal for my son. This is before he got Osiris. Oh, yeah, I'm going to go there because all of these things are events that took place. All of the things that have been taking place in terms of the harassment, the illegal surveillance of my son and me. He was looking back in, I want to say April or May. We were looking. And I was going all over to try to find that, and he initially applied at either PetSmart or Petco, and he was basically gonna be approved, and then all of a sudden, the young lady's name was Ashley. Her name was Ashley, and we had some weird text exchanges. I may even still have that. I might have it in the phone. And I just said, "Okay," it was just strange. And, so remember, we talk about how they like to make things unnecessary. A part of this whole thing is make things difficult, make things seem like normal life, but make it unnecessarily complicated, unnecessarily difficult to annoy and frustrate the target. So I end up checking back later, and then I run into a guy, which is one of the gentlemen here. Now, what are the chances of this all being interconnected, them knowing one another? My son eventually gets a cat, but even that was kind of made a challenge. Okay. I followed the instructions was given and it was a big deal. And why? What is this? For people that you don't know and to have it's screaming nefarious dealings. It's screaming personal issue. When the world tips over. If only I had told her. Family of liars, 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 family of liars. Mhm. And this is what they need to know about who I am. And this is where this shit ends. I'm gonna stop their little circus shit show of prejudice, fuckery, discrimination. And you can bet your bottom dollar.